All right, we are going to kick off. There are so many people here. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a really exciting one. Welcome to Austin Design Week 2020. We're so glad that you're here. My name is Kelsey, and I'm on the ADW team this year. And you can connect with us over social. So all the handles are on the screen now. So if you haven't already, please go check those out. Next up, I also want to remind you, it's Friday, so hopefully you found it by now, but if you have not, it's not too late. Please join us on Slack. So we'll put that link in the Zoom chat, but we also be dropping a few other resources in there. There are free events all week long, and there's still some really great programming today. So please join us on Slack, check out everything happening with ADW, and we'd love to see more and more of you. Additionally, I want to say a huge thank you to our generous sponsors for making this year happen. ADW is only possible because of their partnership, so thank you so much. And then finally, at the end of this event, we're going to ask you to take a brief survey and get your feedback. So we'd love to hear from you, so stay tuned for that. And now I'm going to pass it over to our amazing host and moderator, Brittany Jo Steyer, to get this event started.
Thanks, Kelsey. Hi, everyone. So excited you made it to day 5 of Austin Design Week. We really appreciate you all being here. My name is Brittany Jo. I work for Mathis Potestio here in Austin. We are a boutique creative staffing agency. Basically, all that means is we're a small team. We all come from creative backgrounds. We're working with companies, all shapes and sizes, to help fill creative and marketing roles. We're always looking for great talent, so feel free to connect with us. Or me specifically on LinkedIn, would love to meet you. But we have some amazing panelists today, and I'm really excited to hear from them. These are 3 pretty cool design leaders in Austin. So we have Mirko from IBM, Marivi from the Zebra, and Alexis from Frog. I will let them introduce themselves, and then we'll kind of jump in and dive in and hopefully get some really great questions answered today. Just to kind of tag on what Kelsey said, if you all have questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat. I'll try to be checking that out as we go, but we will have time where you can jump into a breakout room about a little bit towards the end of this and ask questions specifically to any of us. So feel free to save them to the end if you'd like as well. Alexis, I'll let you start.
Great, thanks. Hey everyone, so my name is Alexis Puchek. I'm a Principal Director of Design at Frog, which is a global design strategy and technology consulting firm. I've been doing all things design for about 17 years now, starting in front-end web development and design, and then transitioning into user experience design. I've been at Frog for about 5 years, love working with people. I'm a mentor through and through, and I teach at Austin Community College as well. So great to meet all of you, and looking forward to your questions.
Marivi, if you want to go next and give a quick intro.
Sure. My name is Marivi Carlton. I am the product design manager at the Zebra. The Zebra is a startup that does insurance comparison. And just a little bit more about me and my career. I started as a marketing designer and moved into product design. And at the Zebra, I've been growing and building the product design team.
And last but not least, Mirko.
Everyone, you'll see Miroslav Aziz on the screen and probably on a lot of text. Call me Mirko, please. I'm the design practice manager for IBM in our design program office, though my background educationally is industrial design and philosophy. I've been a product designer, design researcher. I've ended up in the organizational change space, and my mandate for the last 7 years at IBM has really been about building a more human-centered organization by kind of by whatever means necessary. So if you know much about IBM, we've been in every business from meat slicers to professional services to quantum computers. I still learn something new about what we do every day, but cover the gamut of what's essential to business.
Thanks. Okay, well, before we get into the questions everyone really wants to know, I have a quick question for y'all, and that is, what has been the weirdest, maybe most unexpected or uncomfortable question you've ever been asked in an interview? Or maybe one you ask interviewees. I know from my experience, I got asked once, what band could I listen to on repeat for the rest of my life? And it had nothing to do with the company, nothing to do with the role. And it totally made me panic. I couldn't think of anything but like Spice Girls at the time, which I was like, I'm for sure not being hired if that's my answer. I did end up saying the Lumineers. I don't know if that was a good answer or not, but regardless, it made me really uncomfortable and nervous. So just curious from you guys, have you had a question like that?
Yeah, I can start. It's similar. I have a similar experience like you, Brittany Joe. It's not a weird question, but it's one that always makes me very uncomfortable. Is when people ask me, what do I like to do for fun, or what do I like to do outside of work? And I understand they're trying to get to know me better, but I always get so nervous. It's like, what if I tell them I like to hang out with my dogs and then they don't like that? Why would I be judged by what I like to do on my free time instead of my skills and my experience? So I never asked that question, and I don't think I'll ever ask it either.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come up anytime soon.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, something that comes to mind. So I was going through this round of interviews. I got to the very last interview where you like talk to like the head of the company, and they just they just walk right out of the room, like shake my hand, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is like, "Hey, you consider yourself a weird person, don't you?" And and I there's no appropriate response to that. But apparently something in the rest of the interviews had tipped him off. So
definitely don't want to answer that one wrong, huh?
You don't want to get that one wrong.
Mine might be a little bit more even keeled. So apologies for this answer, but I think for me, I've been doing this for 17 years and I love what I do, and I get out of bed every morning to keep coming to work to do this stuff. So I typically ask folks, what is going to keep them, what inspires them to continue doing this work for the next 20 years? If I can do it, I want to know that you're just as passionate getting started in your career, or wherever you are. So I really look forward to seeing like what inspires people as they move forward.
I love that question. I hope everyone's taking notes so they can be prepared for this in an interview with you one day. Okay, so we want to know how you all got your start in design, and were you formally trained? If you can kind of give us a little background, and Alexis, I'll let you start with this one as well.
Sure. I was a huge like gamer nerd in high school, so I taught myself web design back when GeoCities was the thing to do. I went to school, but ended up just kind of floating around UT, and there wasn't really anything specific toward user-centered design, information architecture, user experience design. None of that stuff was really happening 17 plus years ago. So I ended up teaching myself everything that I know, and it's true to date. I'm a self-taught individual, and I've learned through experience on the job. I did a lot of volunteer work, building websites for people and kind of teaching myself along the way, and then found some great teachers and mentors who could just connect with me and help teach me things like accessibility and what that was, which led into internships, which turned into full-time jobs. And when I first started, I was a front-end web developer, AKA a web designer, which meant that I did all of the things from coding to designing to information architecture to visual design. And then as sort of the product naming kind of split into more siloed is when I started becoming more of like a user experience designer and not kind of like an all hands on deck, do all of the things person, which I really love. So I love the focus.
Marie, what about you?
Yeah, so I think I've always been naturally inclined to design advertising in general. I always remember when I was little, my mom would always make fun of me because I would read every single billboard and I would watch commercials for fun. And I'm originally from Venezuela. So I always kind of knew I wanted to do something related to that. And then when I moved to the States, I remember in high school, there were a few classes that were digital interactive things. And that's when I started teaching myself Photoshop, Illustrator. I remember using Maya, Animator, all those things that Flash, no one uses Flash anymore. But I think all of that led me to knowing that I wanted to study design in college. I went to Texas State and I went to the ComDesk program. And similar to you, Alexis, when I went to Texas State, user experience, product design, it was not really a thing. We would talk about interactions, but it was not a career kind of how it is today. So when I first graduated, something that I did know was that I always was more inclined to the digital part of design. So since I graduated, I've only worked at startups. And I was also marketing designer, but more as a web designer. And as the design community and our industry has grown, I finally found opportunities to be more specialized. And that's when I moved into product design. And because I still work at what I would consider a smaller company, or roles are more product design. So we're still doing UX, UI, information architecture, but luckily I'm not having to do development anymore, which was a part of design that would always kind of like stress me out. And now I'm just happy with dealing with more of the user experience part of the design.
I don't know where to start the story, so I'll start it with all through school, grade school, I was a Star Trek nerd. And I think the cool thing about watching a show like that is you see kind of this post-scarcity utopia, right? Where so many things are possible, you know, like it's like one of those like good outcomes for humanity kind of shows. And I think, you know, for me at least, like that sort of interest in like what our utopias are really kind of brought me to like, okay, how do we like what do we do? Like, how do we reconcile everyone's thing and kind of get there? I think early on that was a lot of the thing that drove my interest. I did have a formal education in industrial design. I don't think my industrial design professors particularly knew me, because I think I was more at the time interested in philosophy and things that had so-called no practical value. But when I did get into industry, and actually more specifically when I got into IBM, I think I was always more interested in the kind of like what designs not to do, right? There's a kind of designer who I think has you know, although I think I used to call myself a designer more, I actually don't consider myself that quite the same way these days. Maybe I started as an okay designer, but then, you know, as a decent designer, there's a moment where you run into some experience problem that you actually realize like can't be solved without first solving some like team problem or some organizational infrastructure problem. And no amount of good design is going to get that thing out the door the way you want it to, right? So you change your scope, and then all of a sudden you find yourself trying to like rewire and transform your own team or your own organization. And then you realize at some point that by the time you've gotten there, you're doing a whole different kind of work. And maybe it's design, maybe it's not, but that's kind of where I found myself today.
So you've all kind of started in one place and really either siloed down or kind of ended somewhere, still in design, but a little different. So we want to talk promotions. What was that first promotion in your design career like, and how did you get it? What did it take to actually earn that promotion? Mirko, I'll let you start this one.
Yeah, actually, that story I told is probably the story of the very first project I'd ever gotten deployed on at IBM. You know, we deployed to a product. We did great work. You know, our SUS scores were really high. Our usability scores and all that were great. I was like, yeah, fantastic user experience design. And then we realized like there was no addressable market for the thing. There was like a lot of the sort of upfront sort of early questions had not been solved. And I think it was that very early step of like realizing that and then bringing it up. I think I found myself in conversations, business conversations and value conversations much on than I'd expected. And I think so that's kind of how that first one came to be pretty early on at my time at IBM, at least.
Marie,
kind of an
Yeah,
that's cool. Marie, do you have anything to add to that for yourself?
So I think, you know, like I mentioned before, most of my experience have been startups. So I started as a junior marketing designer, and I got promoted to a mid-level designer. And I'm trying to kind of like remember everything from the story of how that happened, but so it wasn't very clear to me how to get promoted then. And actually, it's something that now I love that I had that experience because now I know what it takes and I can also mentor the people in my team on how to do it. So at the company where I was at the time, there were not a levels framework. There was not a clear path of like, what does it take to be a mid-level designer? It was more about years. If you have been working for 2 years, you're mid-level. If you've been working for 5 years, you're a senior. And I actually don't really agree with that because there are people that learn faster. So something that I did was I noticed that I was getting more and more responsibilities within my first year. I was getting bigger and bigger projects. And I didn't have a job description that I could look at my company to be like, wait, am I doing this? So I went on Glassdoor, LinkedIn, pulled a bunch of mid-level design jobs that I found. And then I made a list and I was like, I'm already doing all of this. So I took all the projects that I had been doing for the past year and a half and showed it with, and then took kind of like the patterns that I found from the job descriptions. And I was like, look, I've been doing all of this and I'm also getting more responsibilities. So what does it take for me to get this promotion? It didn't work out the way that I planned it, obviously, but then I ended up transferring to another team within the same company, another design team, and I got a promotion like that. But I think for me, all of this is, again, I knew I didn't have to be a designer for 3 years because I was already getting the job, the work, and I was being able to do it successfully. So that's kind of like what I did to be able to get a promotion.
You're really proactive. That's awesome, though.
I try.
Alexis, what about your first promotion? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think I would totally lump in being converted from an intern to a full-time employee as a promotion. Like that just was such a powerful moment to know that I was like a working kid and I'm doing my best. I'm finishing school, and then them recognize. So I worked at Visa when this happened, that I was worth investing in, like beyond sort of the temporary 40 hours a week or whatever into a full-time designer and what that looked like in their company. So that was really powerful, even though I just kind of stayed the same level. I was just sort of like, now you're for real a full-time employee. But I think it's those little moments as well that are just as powerful as like a complete title change and like increase in salary and whatever that looks like. So then when I think about what does it take to get promoted, I don't mean to be discouraging, but for me, I haven't necessarily seen like a one size fits all answer to this, right? Like every company is different. I think that some companies you have to play the game and be a little bit more political and be the voice and be recognized so that people can see who you are. I think in other companies, it's really, like you do the time and you'll get promoted. So like every 3 years, you'll get that promotion, like based on merit or not, or just investment in the company. And with other companies, it's based on merit, on skill set, on, getting the feedback from your manager and from your teams and improving on that feedback to become a better, more well-rounded, more capable designer or contributor. And I've experienced all of these in my life. Some of the companies I left because I was like, whether I want the promotion or not, like, I don't like the way that this game is being played. And so I think as well, like, you need to do that assessment internally to figure out, am I here just for a promotion, or am I here for the company, or am I here for me? Like, what are the things that drive you, and see if that drives what career development looks like for you.
So all of you, kind of flipping this question a little bit, you all now have worked your way up. You've been in the design industry for quite a few years, and you have teams of people, or you mentor people. So what kind of qualities, what things are your reports doing that lead you to advocate for them to get a promotion? Are there specific tangible things you're looking for? Is it just tenure? Is it passion? Like, what, can you talk a little bit about that?
I can start. So something that I look at for people to get promoted is that they, in a way, are already doing the job. They're already doing the work. They have that passion and excitement towards it, that they're proving that they already want to do it. Because I think it's easier to get a promotion once you've shown that it's like, hey, I'm already doing all of this, instead of getting a promotion with, could you do this in the future? Something that I really value is when we have conversations about your future. So I think a manager can only help you so much if, let me rephrase this. I think it's hard for a manager to take you where you want to be if you don't know what that is. So are you going to be happy being a lead of a team, or are you going to be happy managing, for example? Because then as a manager, I know what to focus on. I know what kind of feedback to give you to help you grow. And yeah, to me, the other thing too is when someone comes to you and it's like, what else could I do? That shows that you're ready to also take more responsibilities.
I want to ask a question to that because I think that's a really good thing that you're looking for. But a lot of times as designers, we hit this fork in the road where in order to get that promotion, do we have to become a people manager, or can we stay an individual contributor? So is it possible for someone to continue to grow and be promoted, but maybe still just stay as an individual contributor? Or is it expected that the senior level mean you have to manage people?
I think, and this is my opinion, 100% you can grow, because growth does not equal management. And the other thing for me here is I don't think everyone is a good manager, or not everyone wants to be a manager. Management, and especially being designers, design is such a tactical thing that we do, right? Like there's people that are really happy designing, getting in there, getting those prototypes ready. And as a manager, you know that slowly you're not going to be doing that as much. You're going to be working more on the strategy, giving feedback, and you need to be okay with that to be happy as a manager. Because I think if you become a manager because you think that's how you're going to grow in your career, you're going to be unhappy. And then you're going to be again on that fork in the road of like, I'm a manager, but I'm not happy with what I'm doing. And I have learned how to be a manager, and I absolutely love it. And now I find a lot of happiness when I see my team doing great things with our product.
Yeah, I really, no, I really liked what you were saying. Actually, first earlier, Maria, about really the importance of someone kind of having a point of view on their own future and their own career as something that's really important, and kind of as it relates to this let's call it the IC versus people management track. Like, I think the other thing to sort of think about is, I'm lucky to be in an organization where like the individual contributor is just as recognized. You can be recognized as a vice president without any. We just a few years ago we just promoted our first IC design fellow. So there's a framework for that, and I think that's important that does exist in the organization. But then the other thing is that whether or not you're in an IC role, or if you want to grow in an IC role or as a people manager, I think the thing that that I look for is like, even if you're an IC, how do you influence the people around you? Are you a positive influence on them? Do you show care for those people? Because as you grow a team and as you grow a culture and an organization, you want people in your highest in the highest positions of leadership in your organization to be people that care about other people, regardless. And so that's it's funny because I think I'm although that is an important distinction, I think the actual practice can be blurred sometimes, right?
Alexis, do you have anything to add kind of around individual contributors or people managers and the promoting and growth in that respect?
Yeah, I think, so at Frog, we do have two career paths that split beyond senior. You can be a principal, or you can be like an associate director. The principal allows you to stay more focused on like a practice area that contributes to an offering within Frog, right? Like hands-on, you become an expert in that area. It doesn't necessarily mean you're an expert as like a discipline person, like within interaction design, for instance. Whereas the other lets you be more of the people management or be on more of the people management track. every company is going to be different. So at Frog, like regardless of whichever way you split, pretty much 80% of the job of either is the same, right? You're still leading teams, you're still working with clients, you're still hands-on and mentoring people. It's just the additional 20% of, are you focusing on people and their growth and their skills and how they can improve in their career, or are you focusing more on, you know, the company and the work and the offering and the practice? I've been at other companies where, yeah, you see the principal track is kind of just like a super senior, right? So it just continues to dive really deep on your discipline expertise. So you just become like the most masterful user experience designer that's ever existed in that company. So there are frameworks that I think allow for the flexibility between being sort of a lifelong individual contributor or switching into people management. Not every company has that framework and allows for that. I think it's also important to recognize that even we as people, even though we might have our own preferences around how we work and what we want to do with our careers, there are also business decisions that come behind promotion as well as keeping people within the same level, right? When you think about how we pay people their salary, there's typically like a band that allows you to start at the small end, right? And then you get merit increases as you do great work. And then when you reach the top of that band, you've kind of like hit the maximum payout for like senior designer. And sometimes that means let's move you to the next band, which means the next step up. Some companies allow for flexibility where you can kind of just like keep the monetary increase going, but your title the same. It just depends on what the companies allow you to do and where you fit in best, I think.
So kind of curious to dive a little bit deeper, and any of you can answer this, but how would you recommend someone showcase their skills and their craft to justify a promotion if they're not wanting to go into the people management route?
I can take this one. I think my answer is going to be more with my experience in product design. I think something that is great with product design is that whatever we are doing is directly affecting the company, and it's easy to get that data. So something that within my team, I partner very, very closely with product and research to get that quantitative and qualitative data. So it's easy to say, hey, I worked on this project, and let's say that the goal was to reduce drop-off by X, and we were able to do it. So showing those numbers can show the value of what you're bringing to the business. I think there's also something to say when you get peer feedback, when people want to work with you, there's that personal part too. It's not always all business. People want to collaborate with you. Everything that we do is a collaboration at the end of the day. For example, at the Zebra, we have a research team, UX writing, development, and product. And we're all working together, essentially like holding hands to get everything out. And that also has a lot to say when people want to work with you, and then having that data to back up the projects that you've worked on. And you can continue doing that as you keep growing, because then you have even more influence. You get more responsibility, you get more specialized projects.
I think this data piece is really interesting because I learned really early on in my career that it's so important to be your own advocate, period, right? Like, yes, absolutely. Hopefully you have a manager who is also being your advocate. But I've had good managers in my life and I've had bad managers in my life. Bad managers have probably outweighed good at this point, just because what's interesting is a lot of us start as individual contributors and then all of a sudden we move into people management, and it's like, well, I haven't had those skills, right? So now like manage people, even though I've been managing work, and some companies and a lot of companies don't provide that. So someone's just kind of left to manage people in a new way. So being an advocate for yourself, where you can give the tools to your manager to advocate for you. I think as Marivi was saying, trying to do the best work that you can, period. Be the best team player that you can be so that people want to work with you. People think about your name first when a new project or a new design or you know, a new track of work comes up to play, it's like, oh, I want to work with, you know, Alexis because I've heard good things, or she works in this way. When people start talking about you in that kind of way, it's really hard to not recognize that that person is doing something right and that they deserve the merit or the credit behind it. So, you know, as much as you can be the bomb, excuse me for my 90s like language, do it, right?
Yeah, I love that. So what makes a good people manager? If you've never had those skills, how then do you hone those? How do you get those skills to be able to break into design management? Mirko, I'm gonna shoot this one at you.
Yeah, no, I just this is a continuation really of what Alexis was saying. You know, people management is a craft and a discipline in its own right? And it's not just like more designing at a different level, but it's a, you know, it's a service craft, and what you are as a manager, I think, is a complete reframe of kind of what your role in an organization is, right? You're what comes to mind is Danny Meyer, who runs the Union Square Hospitality Group, right? He calls it the enlightened cycle of hospitality, right? You know that in order to take care of like users and customers, but in order to really deliver on that, you actually have to take care of your people, right? Like they need to feel like they belong and like they're bringing themselves, and you as a manager need a framework, need the framework to kind of reframe that for yourself. Where I see a lot of kind of bad management practice is when that reframe hasn't kind of kicked in yet. It hasn't clicked that actually your role is very, your role is nothing like the one you had before. I think the other thing that comes to mind, and I don't want to monopolize this, so please jump in, is that, and I'll speak for myself on this, on what I strive for, which is that like I moved from IC to management because I have a reason to do it, right? Have a reason to want to do it that isn't about upward mobility. And I think in this particular case, like I did it because my career as an IC followed none of the traditional IC trajectory. My own managers and senior leaders were people who probably unfairly took a really strong chance on me early on, the helm of things I had no business being a part of. I was invested in, I got a mandate, right? I got resources. And yet I still work with people that, you know, and I've met with people who have felt stifled or passed over for opportunities that they very much deserved. And I didn't know how to replicate my own experience. And so I think a lot of my time, at least in management, where I try to strive for a good one is I am trying to figure out how to replicate that privileged experience that I'd had in a way that is scalable and in a way that is, that in a way that is replicable. So those are the two things that I think about. It's a complete reframe. And the second one is like, you go into it with a reason.
I like that. All right, well, we have hit the time where we are going to go into breakout rooms. So I know there are a lot of people here today who probably have some really specific questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to break out into rooms. I will have one answering questions. If you're job seeking right now, feel free to pop in. And I think Kelsey's going to describe a little bit more about what we're going to talk about, but please feel free to pop around and get some more answers to these questions.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much to our speakers. I think these are really awesome careers for us all to follow and track. We are going to have a breakout so that you can ask them questions specific to their own journeys or to their companies individually. However, we had an awesome turnout today, so thank you all for joining us. So these groups are going to be pretty large, or have the potential to be. So to our speakers, I'd really encourage you to collect questions in the chat and call on specific people, since you'll kind of be moderating your own conversation. But these breakout rooms are a great place for you to, the questions that came through in the chat are very interesting and astute questions. This is a good opportunity for you to ask our panelists those things. Also a great opportunity to learn more about what their teams are working on, how their companies are growing, and really get a little bit more of a small group interaction. The housekeeping on this, I'll open up the breakout rooms and it's labeled by company. And so you can join one for each company that was presenting today. And the way you do that is there's a number next to the company. You actually click on that number and then a join button will open up for you. If you have any trouble, I'll be acting as a concierge in this main room. So you can always hop out of your breakout room and come back and I can help you reassign. You'll also have the opportunity to visit multiple rooms. So we're gonna try this out. I think we're the first one to be doing this kind of self-select breakout room during ADW this year. So good luck to everyone. If you have questions, I'll be available for you. I'm opening those rooms now. It should be popped out across the bottom of your screen. And then you should be able to pick the room you want and hit a join button. All right, I see some people making it in. All right. And to our speakers, same process for you. If you have any trouble, let me know.
I don't think I got a button.
Okay, I'll assign you to your room.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Oh, thanks.
Oh no. Hold, please.
I was clicking everywhere trying to find the button, so I'm happy that there's a few of us that didn't see it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, I'm not seeing speakers at all. Let me do a message real quick to tell them to sit tight. Kelly, if you're available, could you take a look at this too?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually not seeing any buttons myself, but I will do some digging on.
Maybe I have to. Thank you for your patience. Okay. You know what? It's actually, oh, there we go. So Marie, I'm sending you now. You're good to go. As far as our attendees, are you not seeing buttons either? You can drop in the chat and let us know.
So I think you scroll over to you highlight the name and scroll over to the right, go over the number and it says join.
Yep, that should be how it works. So you should be able to click the breakout rooms at the bottom of your screen and do that. But for some people, for some reason, it's not popping up to give them that option. And then on my assigning list, I actually don't have everybody's names. I only have a partial list. So that's what I'm trying to figure out where those names are.
I was probably supposed to update WebEx or something, or Zoom or something.
I figured out how to get you. So I'm going to send you to your room now.
Cool.
I'm sending you. All right. We got all our speakers in the right places. Okay, so attendees, no pop-up, no buttons for me either. Okay, so why don't y'all start putting in the chat and I'll send you one at a time and let me know which room you want to go to. So I'm scrolling way back up. I think the first person I found is Jorge. And also, unfortunately, it's not in alphabetical order for me, so it might take just a minute. And that way, Kelly, you're not able to see this in the breakout rooms?
No, I don't see breakout room. Do you know if I'm able to help send people to rooms, or is that something?
That's what I was hoping for. There's a breakout rooms button on the bottom for me where, as a co-host, I was hoping you'd be able to.
I don't think I have that. It's on the bottom of the participants or the.
It's at the bottom of your Zoom window. Next
No,
to,
I don't have that option.
okay, let me see if we got a lot of people in the maths room. Okay. I apologize for this inconvenience. Seems like a lot of people don't have the button option. I would love to just answer your questions myself, but I'm actually not a designer, so I don't think it'll be as relevant, my advice and my opinions. Let's see. All right, Megan, I'm sending you to IBM now. Alan, I'm going to send you to Frog. Danny's going to IBM.
So it may be a Zoom update problems, it looks like. If I'm gonna go check and see if I have the most recent version of Zoom, but that might help fix the problem for some folks.
Thank you. Okay. Kelsey, I'm going to send you to Frog. Hope, let me see if I got you. All right, so one of my big challenges I'm having that I don't think is very well designed is that panel or attendees aren't shown up in alphabetical order. So I think I'm going to start calling your name if you want to come on off unmute and tell me which group you want to go to so I can assign you a little faster. So the first person I have is Allison Conroy. What room would you like to go to? Oh, gone. Okay. How about Dishery? All right. Francesco.
Frog, please.
Was that Dishery?
Yeah, frog, please.
Okay, just one moment.
Thank you.
Sincere apologies. Now the breakout rooms aren't showing up. It's just a blank sign when I try to send you somewhere. So patience, please. All right. I think maybe we have just a few too many people for this feature to work, right? Caitlin, you're first on my list now. Oh, but it's not loading anymore. So I do apologize for this. We're going to drop the careers page in again. And that way you can follow up with these companies if you didn't get a chance to go to the room you wanted to. So I'm gonna put that
I
in
have updated my Zoom and I can now, it looks like, put people, or I can at least see breakout rooms. So I might be able to help.
We'll have about 10 more minutes in the breakout rooms. If anyone wants to try to run an update really quickly, then you should have the feature. And I can keep trying manually, but let me drop this careers page in for you so everybody can at least know how to learn more about the companies afterward.
I'm also a volunteer. Sorry. Kelly, I was trying to add people in and I don't see where I could
Yeah, I don't think
the
we
breakout
can.
rooms.
I think now I can see it, but it looks like we still can't put people in them. But updating may help anybody who's stuck in this room if you want to just do an update real quick and then rejoin.
I know that mine says there are no updates available.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was strange too. I kind of assumed that I would have an update to do. And when I checked on Zoom,
That's not what I said, really. I wasn't saying you need to update more, but I thought that would fix our problem. Okay, so let me see if we got more.
I think one issue might be, I know that I was asked to leave once already because there were so many people, 100 max. It could be that we're at capacity. And so I don't know if that's part of it, but it's possible.
Yeah, it looks like I've still got room to add people to Zebra. I think Frog is definitely full right now, but so let's see. Is it looks like we have some room in the IBM room and the Zebra room. So if you're interested, I'm gonna call names and try to send you there. The other hiccup I'm having on my end that y'all can't see is that when I try to send you to a room, it's just blank. Like there's no option. So let's see. Hopefully we have better luck this time. Annie, would you like to go to IBM or the Zebra room?
The Zebra room, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Bailey, would you like to go to the Zebra or IBM?
I'll do Zebra, please.
All right. And now it's blank again. Okay, Jesse, would you like to go to the Frog, or no, Frog's full. Would you like to go to Zebra or IBM?
I'll do Zebra as well. Thank you.
We're having better luck now. Things are actually showing up. I've got room still in Zebra and IBM. Would anyone like to, or would Lacey, would you like to join that one of those two?
Yeah, I'll take IBM.
All right. I have someone dialed in with a 512 phone number. I'm not sure who to call on for that, but would you like to join Zebra or IBM? Okay, I'm gonna go to the next person, which is Myra. Would you like to go to, looks like M&P's got room now. If you'd like to go to Mathis and Potestio or Zebra or IBM.
IBM, please.
All right. It's blank again, but bear with me for just one moment. We'll get you in. All right, Melinda, would you like to go to M&P, the Zebra, or IBM? Okay, for sake of time, I'm going to the next person. Jose, would you like to go to IBM, the Zebra, or Mathis and Potestio? Oh, Zebra. Kelly, would you mind? I'm just kind of listening right now. If someone answers in the chat, would you kind of help me listen or look out for that?
Yes.
Thank you. Anna, would you like to go to the Zebra or IBM or Mathis and Potestio? Zebra.
It's like Anna says Zebra. Yep.
Merritt. Okay, next on the list is Nick Morrow.
Hi, could I do Mathis Potestio, please?
For sure. All right, Nora.
IBM, please.
All right. Jacqueline.
Jacqueline says Zebra.
Great. Ava or Eva?
Can I try IBM?
Yep, yes, you can. I was like, I hope so, but it's going blank on me again. All right, Erica, which room would you like to go to?
Zebra, please.
All right. Gabriella?
Zebra, thank you.
You're welcome. Ilaria. Okay, I'm gonna go to Caitlin next. Yeah, Caitlin Ogburn.
Zebra, please.
All right. Sam. Okay, I'm gonna move on to Linda.
Zebra, please.
Jordan Livingston. Okay, I'm gonna move on to Layla.
Zebra, please.
Zebra. All right. On to Jordan. We hear from you yet? I've got OT, IBM.
It looks like Melinda also said IBM.
Thank you.
And that 512 number, I think, also goes to IBM with Melinda.
Okay. Thank y'all. It's like a 50-50 chance if it's going to give me the breakout rooms or be a blank window.
You are being a champion. I admire you for individually sorting everyone. That's awesome.
How about Ryan O'Leary?
IBM, please.
All right, try in now. To our volunteers, could y'all check and make sure that, or let me know what room Melinda's in and make sure I got the phone number joining her.
Yeah, I'll check right now.
Thank you so much. Adrian Gomez.
Oh, Frog, please.
Mike, if he'll let you in, go for it.
Thank you.
Ying.
Frog, please, if you'll let me in.
All right, let's see. Megan, Willie. Anywhere? I love that attitude. Let's get you in. Okay, these are ones I think I missed earlier. Jordan Livingston, did you have a preference? Okay, Sam, did you have a preference? All right, Ilaria.
Frog, please.
Frog? Okay, let's see if we get room in there. Hi. All right, I think everyone is finally in a room. Volunteers are amazing. Thank you so much for your help on that one.
That was crazy.
You did great.
I was like, the problem is that it doesn't even give an option for some people. It's just like a white window. So trying to assign them and there was just like nothing there to be able to assign them. So I'm gonna let them have a few extra minutes in there because I also messed up and we didn't send the survey one more time. So I'm gonna broadcast the survey link. Kelly, could you send me the survey link?
Yeah, sure. Let me grab that.
Thank you so much. Okay. Man, thank y'all for being here. It means a lot to me. I didn't know how much I was gonna need you. And nobody's come back yet, so hopefully things are going well in their rooms.
I feel like people are jumping around too for the wherever it's working, which is nice.
Cool. Oh, that is good. I wasn't sure if they'd have the capability to do that on their own or if they'd have to come back to get reassigned.
Mm-hmm. I think it is a Zoom update
problem that they weren't able to
do. Yeah.
I saw that Kelly, was it you that shared that support link? And I was like, oh, I wish I could read that right now.
Yeah, no, it's just the place to find the updates.
Thank you. All right.
Fix my problem.
Will they be coming back in here afterwards or?
That's what I was supposed to announce. I was supposed to give them their survey link and invite them back to a closing. So we are going to go ahead and close the rooms at 2. So I'll send a broadcast message to them at 1:59, letting them know they have 1 more minute, and then we'll close the rooms and bring them back. But I bet a lot of people will hop off at that moment. But when they come back, we'll send them the survey link 1 more time and just thank them and thank our speakers. So they won't miss a ton of content. Have y'all been to a lot of events this week?
Yeah, a couple each day. It's been nice.
What do you do, Katie?
So I actually just graduated from General Assembly with the user experience course.
How was it?
Having Austin Design Week. It was literally like I was done 2 weeks ago.
Congrats.
So having this to fill up my calendar has been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I used to work at General Assembly. I was the Chicago marketing person. So I was like doing our local marketing in Chicago.
Oh, that's great.
I loved it. It was honestly my favorite job I ever had. And that's actually how my connection to Austin Design Week is, because the founders, we all worked at General Assembly at the same time. And so right now I do event marketing is what I like my trade. And so it's kind of random that I get involved with this every year, but it's because I love doing events for designers. When I was at GA, it was just such a good.
Oh, I love that. I was blown away. I mean, I'm still blown away by how my network that I'm growing and just how good of a job General Assembly does. It's been so nice.
It's interesting too how prevalent design is in Austin. My next role was working for Built In, which if you haven't checked them out, it's job searching. And it was, every other city was all about they needed engineering talent, and Austin was always designers. We need more designers, more designers.
Yeah, that's good for me because I'm on the job hunt.
Luca has just joined in. Did you need help getting into a breakout room, Luca? Hi, Luca. Welcome. Right now, everyone's in breakout rooms. I'm not sure if you were here earlier or just joining us, but we only have about 1 more minute in those breakouts. I'm going to let you sit tight here. Did y'all go to the live one that where I don't remember the name of it, where we get to sit in the circle and talk about design? Oh,
I have not. I did not go to those. I guess Kelly couldn't because she's in Chicago.
Yeah. I'm curious how it went though. Someone was talking in the volunteer training about bringing his dog, and I was like, oh, that sounds so fun.
Aw.
I would love to have been able to make one.
I know. I want to see. Are there any photos of one of the design circles?
I don't know.
I haven't seen any yet.
Me neither.
All right. I'm going to pull them back in just a second. Kelly, will you share the survey link one more time? And would you actually mind sharing this careers link again too?
Which one is it?
I got it for you. Oh, I'll send it, Katie.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Hello, hello. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Still some more people joining, so we'll give just a second. I hope y'all had good chats in your breakout rooms. Thank you for your patience if you had a delayed start to yours. All right, we got 15 more seconds before all the groups are back. Here we go. Welcome, welcome. All right, there's everybody's faces. Okay, so really, this just a quick little wrap up. We just want to thank you all for being a part of this conversation today and joining us. I hope your breakouts are great and you got some more direct questions answered. We'd love to continue the conversation with you any way we can. Kelly's going to drop in the chat for us all one more time. There is a careers page from the Austin Design Week, so you can go and see all of our partners and how their teams are growing if you want to find out more information there. Additionally, this is a big request. Please fill out the survey. Austin Design Week really values your feedback and it helps us plan to improve and make these better each time. Granted, 2020 has been a pivot year for us all, and so feedback would be really helpful for us as we continue to move forward. And beyond that, I just want to say a huge thank you to our moderator, Brittany Jo, and to our 3 speakers for being a part of this awesome event. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of Austin Design Week. Get it while you can. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.